to me given because it applies with the real world today. I'm going to give you a little insight into the book of Kevin. Probably going to be on page 277,000. But I have watched the news, I have heard people talk, just like all of you have. You've seen the Facebook posts, you've read the newspaper, you've read the magazine articles. The number one problem that we have in America is pointing fingers. No one wants to take ownership of anything. I'm watching a Facebook thread of a bunch of guys that I played ball with talking about gun control and how the crazy white people are shooting everybody up with their guns. I went to Lamarck, okay? So that gives you the demographic we're in. And if I thought it would be fruitful for me to jump in there, I would do it, but it wouldn't be fruitful, so I'm staying out. I'm just watching it. I'm reaching out to some people on the side, that type of deal. But if guns are the real problem, folks, if guns are the real problem, why are we strapping guns to our police officers and sending them out in the street? Why are we strapping guns to our military and sending them overseas? Why not just send the guns? If guns are the real problem, or if people are the real problem, why are we putting them together? It's not the people pulling the trigger. It's not the gun. It's the heart and the mind. People who are taking up guns and committing mass suicides, mass murders, shooting people up, mosques, synagogues, churches, it's a heart and mind issue. They have had a break with reality. Okay? Let that sink in for just a second. A break in reality. In their minds, they have had a break with reality. Go all the way back to the beginning. Let's just read it. Genesis chapter 4. Genesis chapter 4, we're going to be, I think it's verse 3 through 8. When it was time for the harvest, Cain presented some of its crops as a gift to the Lord. Abel also brought a gift, the best portions of the firstborn lambs from his flock. The Lord accepted Abel and his gift, but he did not accept Cain and his gift. This made Cain very angry, and he looked dejected. Why are you so angry, the Lord asked Cain. Why do you look so dejected? You will be accepted if you do what is right. But if you refuse to do what is right, then watch out. Sin is crouching at the door, eager to control you. But you must subdue it and be its master. Cain and Abel. Abel presented the very best of his flock to God. Cain only gave a portion of his crops to God. Because of this, God told Cain, I'm not accepting your offer. It's not what you should be doing. It's not the right thing to do. Everything you do is because of me. Everything you gain is because of me. You should be offering it all back. That's basically what God told Cain. A couple of days goes by. Cain and Abel decide they're going to go off and do some things together. What does Cain do? Kills his brother Abel. It says right here that Cain was very angry. Very angry. So, no guns. Okay? No video games. No high chicken endorphin, whatever they got going on with that whole thing right now. Okay? No murderous TV shows or movies. There's no one to point the blame at. You can't blame the gun because there wasn't a gun. Does God blame the rock that Cain used to kill Abel? No, he doesn't. Where before anything ever happened, Cain had a break with reality because he was dejected, rejected. He had his feelings hurt. Okay? And his brothers shining in glory. And it made him angry. Very angry, as the Bible tells us. So the first recorded break with reality is with the very two first siblings on earth, Cain and Abel. And murder happens that early in creation. So murder has been around since day one, basically. It's nothing new. All right, do you remember, Keith, you can be with me on this. Kevin, you can be with me on this. Kevin, all you older guys can be with me on this. You used to be able to pick up a Sears and Roebuck catalog, a Western Auto catalog, a J.C. Penney's catalog, and order any gun you wanted. No background check, no age limit. If your mama would buy you a 30-06 out of the Sears Roebuck catalog, it was yours. Okay? Because Lord knows we didn't have money for it when we were young. So why now all of a sudden do we have all these strict gun laws? Why do we have age limits to buy guns? Why are we pointing the fingers at the gun manufacturers? Why are we pointing the fingers at the weapon itself? I almost brought my pistol today and just set it right here, but there's too many kids running around. But I almost set my gun right here and just let it do its damage on its own without me touching it. Because that's what people want you to believe over on the far left. They want you to believe that that pistol laying on the table right there is going to jump up and start killing people. It's not that gun's fault. It's the person behind the trigger that had to break with reality. And then in order to save their skin, they start pointing fingers. Well, it was the chicken that I ate. It had too many. It wasn't natural. There was too many hormones in it. It messed me up. Right? Have y'all heard that one? It was the gun manufacturer. It was the bullet manufacturer. It was Donald Trump's fault. It was Obama's fault 10 years ago. Everybody wants to point a finger when their break with reality happens. This is not the only instance. If you go to John chapter 8, verse 31. It's on page 817 if you're in Learning the Ropes. John chapter 8, verse 31 through 44. Jesus said to the people who believed in him, "You are truly my disciples if you remain faithful to my teachings, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." "But we are descendants of Abraham," they said. "We have never been slaves to anyone. What do you mean you will be set free?" Jesus replied, "I tell you the truth, everyone who sins is a slave of sin. A slave is not a permanent member of the family, but a son is part of the family forever. So if the Son sets you free, you are truly free. Yes, I realize that you are descendants of Abraham, and yet some of you are trying to kill me because there's no room in your hearts for my message. I'm telling you what I saw when I was with my father, but you are following the advice of your father." "Our father is Abraham," they declared. "No," Jesus replied, "for if you were really the children of Abraham, you would follow his example. Instead, you were trying to kill me because I told you the truth, which I heard from God. Abraham never did such a thing. No, you are imitating your real father." They replied, "We aren't illegitimate children. God himself is our true father." Jesus told them, "If God were your father, you would love me because I have come to you from God. I am not here on my own, but he sent me. Why can't you understand what I'm saying? It's because you can't even hear me. For you are the children of your father, the devil, and you love to do the evil things that he does. He was a murderer from the beginning. He has always hated the truth because there is no truth in him. When he lies, it is consistent with his character, for he is a liar and the father of lies." Satan was a murderer from the beginning. Okay? Now, if we go back to the Cain and Abel story, well, we'll skip that part for right now. When we have the opportunity to do right and the opportunity to do wrong, which father are you going to follow? The one that's screaming and jumping up and down over here? making all the noise, making a public you-know-what out of himself? Or are you going to follow the Father of heaven, who is quietly sitting on his throne, waiting for you to make the correct decision? He's given you everything you need. He's left you instruction. He's blessed you. He's done so many things for you. Are you going to listen to him, or are you going to listen to the one that's over here making a public fool of himself? Because this is the one that we have to deal with on a daily basis. He is constantly in our ear. He's constantly making racket, constantly making noise. Okay? And like the scripture says, he's just crouching at the door, waiting for you to open it. It may just be a little crack. Kind of like when the hurricanes come around, we just kind of crack the door a little bit to see how things are going outside. All you need is that little crack and the devil's in. He will help you break from reality. That is his number one goal in life, is to break you from reality. And that reality is that God loves us. He loves all people. He loves all sinners. He loves all murderers. He loves all rapists, all child molesters. He loves us all, irregardless of what we've done. It doesn't matter. God loves us. He created us. He wants us to do right, but he also knows that he gave us free will. And the reason he wants us to do right and gave us free will is because if you choose to follow God, you're showing him true love. And that's what he wants. He wants you to make that choice, you to make that decision. He wants you to say, I can't do this without you. In those moments, you're sticking with the reality that he created you, that we're all descendants of him. But when you have that mental break, that break with reality, and you fall into the leftist group, or you fall into the Democratic group, or you fall into the racist group, or the hate group, that's when things go south, because now you're under the control of Satan. In those moments, Satan is his loudest. Do it. Do it. You know you want to, right? It'll feel good. Those are the moments that you open the door just a crack, and Satan's able to whisper. And he's able to coax you and tease you and taunt you, and in some cases lead you. We have no idea why people have these mental breaks. And that's part of the problem that we have, is we don't invest enough into the mental aspects of illnesses. Some people just seem like they walk around filled with hate all the time. It doesn't matter how many times you say I love you, give you a hug, offer them a ride, cash, food. They're still hateful. They're still ugly. They're still evil. They're still controlled by Satan. These are the ones that we need to be focusing on. These are the ones that we need to devote more prayer to, more healing time to, anointments. These are the things that we need to be seeking, really looking for. Most of the people in this room, I don't see evil in your hearts. I don't see evil in your eyes. And yet we meet here every week and we talk about the good things, and we talk about what God has for us and what Jesus has done and what Jesus needs us to do more of. But yet, when we see it on the street, we might stare at it for a second and think, man, I need to go talk to that person. But the majority of us just walk on, drive on, push the basket down another aisle. We don't want to confront that right now. We don't want to deal with that right here in the grocery store. There are no good times to confront evil, because evil is all around you each and every second of the day. You just have to realize that God is with you, God is in you, God created you, He loves you. And you got to do what you got to do. We need to address these folks. We need to talk to them. We need to help them. We need to see if we can find them some help. If If it's beyond our control, which in most cases, it is beyond our control, we need to go find some people some help. That's what we need to do to help them get back to their reality. Because the alternate universe that they're living in is evil. Turn to John chapter 13, just a few pages over. It's going to be in verse 21 through 27. John chapter 13, verse 21. Now Jesus was deeply troubled, and he exclaimed, I tell you the truth, one of you will betray me. The disciples looked at each other, wondering whom he could mean. The disciples Jesus loved was sitting next to Jesus at the table. Simon Peter motioned to him to ask, who's he talking about? So that disciple leaned over to Jesus and said, Lord, who is it? Jesus responded, it is the one to whom I give the bread I dipped in the bowl. And when he had dipped it, he gave it to Judas, son of Simon Iscariot. When Judas had eaten the bread, Satan entered into him, and Jesus told him, hurry, do what you're going to do. The moment the bread was dipped, Satan entered Judas. Jesus already knew he was going to be betrayed, and he was telling his disciples, one of you will betray me. Just like he told Peter, you're going to deny me 3 times. He knew he was going to get betrayed. And this is the first instance in the Bible where it says explicitly, Satan entered someone. Judas already had made a deal, right? But he didn't think anyone else knew. So when Jesus called him on it and said, the minute I dip this bread and hand it to this person, they're going to betray me. So the moment Judas took the bread, Satan entered him. Evil was crouching at Judas's door the entire time. And it wasn't until he took the bread that the door was open. Yes, he had made the plan, he had discussed it. He had made the deal, but it hadn't happened yet. It hadn't gone through. He hadn't accepted it until Jesus called him on it and handed him the bread. In that moment, the door opened and Satan was waiting. He jumped right in Judas's body, and the betrayal happened. Okay? The break from reality with Cain, all right, was not that he didn't listen to God. It was not that he wasn't the son of Adam and Eve. It wasn't that he didn't produce something to give to God as an offering. It was the fact that he was jealous, he had his feelings hurt, and he got very angry. How many people in here get jealous, get hurt, get angry? This is what we have to guard. Judas made the deal to betray Jesus because he was upset. Everything that you go back and read in Scripture is a direct result of a mental breakdown. Bad things happen when the mind separates from the heart. It's no different than what's happening right here in 2019. Bad things happen when your mind separates from your heart. You can't always walk through life. What do we always say? Expect the unexpected. You can't always walk through life and know every step you take is the right step. Okay? But when you're faced in that moment, when you come to that fork in the road or when you come to that dead end, you can't let your mind separate from your heart. Your heart is leading you through God. God is leading you through your heart, through the Holy Spirit. But when your mind separates, when you get to that dead end and you go, God, dog it. Man, I don't even know where to go now. I'm lost. Your mind separated. You became angry. You became hurt. You got frustrated. Somebody gave you the wrong directions. Okay? In those moments, you have to understand that Satan is crouching at your door. He's just waiting for those small moments for your mind to separate from your heart. Everything we do, everything we say, everything we wear, drive, eat, preach, is all for the glory of the kingdom of heaven. I've been saying that for a very long time. But in those moments when you're stuck on I-45, you've got a ball game to get to, you're going to miss the first 3 innings, the traffic hasn't moved in an hour and 15 minutes, your frustration is going to allow your mind to separate from your heart. You're going to start thinking about how you can cut somebody off, how you can gain an inch in line. Okay? I'm speaking reality here. We've all probably done it. We've all had these thoughts and these feelings. I'm sure that everybody in this room has given the one-finger salute at least once in their life. If you haven't, come talk to me. I need to know your secret. And I'm not cutting off any more fingers. Your mind and your heart. Satan is going to have a very hard time capturing your heart. Okay? Because that is the one thing that God controls in our entire body more than anything else is our heart. But our minds are out here looking at the pretty yellow building across the street. Danny's fancy shirt. Brittany's new Jeep that she teased everybody with that she hasn't gotten yet. We were all wanting to go for a topless ride today. All of these things occupy our minds, and before you know it, that gun is off the table and in your hand. The knife is out of your pocket and in your hand. You pick up the rock in the field, and you do something terrible. And when you get caught, because you will get caught, the first thing you do is blame Donald Trump. Or you blame the hormones in the chicken. Or you blame the Matrix. Or you blame John Wayne. Or you whatever. Okay? My generation, we drove trucks to school with rifles in the back window. You can't do that anymore. But let me tell you something about that. In those times, in those days, when those guns were in the back window, there were no school shootings. There weren't. Crime wasn't that bad. It was actually a pretty cool place to live and work. But now you can't have that. Now there's new red flag laws where someone can just say, hey, he's got guns and ammo, and the police can come knock down your door. And you're automatically marked a terrorist just because your neighbor said you had guns and ammo. It doesn't matter that your guns and ammo never leave the house unless you're going to the deer lease, or the duck blind, or the hog hunting fields. You're labeled a terrorist just because of the brand new red flag laws. Why is that? Why do we have the new red flag laws? Because someone has to have somebody to point a finger at. No one will accept responsibility. I'm saddened that our children can't grow up in an era when we grew up. Because they don't have freedoms. They can't put their gun in the back window of the truck and go immediately from school to go hunt dove at a friend's pasture. So many handcuffs, so many shackles, so many laws, so many restrictions, all for the betterment of the community, right? That's what they tell us. It's for the betterment of the community. It's to make you safer. What makes me safer is helping people not separate their minds from their hearts. Because those are the people that don't need the guns. Those are the people that don't need the knives, the rocks, the sticks, the shovels, the axes, the sledgehammers, the screwdrivers. Anything you pick up can be a weapon. I know several people from when I was in high school that have pieces of plastic forks stuck in their forearm from playing stupid games at the lunch table. We didn't think it was a weapon. Okay? Pencil lead. I still got a pencil lead right here in my leg. From junior high. Anything can be a weapon. It wasn't that our minds separated from our heart. It's that we were free and go lucky and happy and we're having a good time doing stupid stuff. But our moms and dads didn't blame Nixon. They didn't blame Kennedy. They didn't blame the guns. They didn't blame the manufacturer of the plastic fork. They whipped our butt and said, "What are you thinking? Right? What were you doing? You're grounded forever. Don't even come out of your room." My dad, his favorite move was when he separated from mind and heart because of something stupid I did, he would go in my room and pull everything out of the closet, throw it on the bed, open up every chest of drawers, throw it on the bed, don't come out till it's all put back the way it was. And that was after I'd already got my butt tore up.
And somewhere in the middle they looked at you and said, "Well, that was dumb."
Yeah.
Wasn't work.
Walk by my room seeing me fold up my socks and stuff, because you're stupid. Why'd you do that? That was dumb. That's just the way it was. Nowadays, if you call your kid stupid, somebody's going to turn you in. You go whipping your kid in Walmart, the police are going to be there to take you to jail. God forbid somebody take off a flip-flop and hit a kid. That's inhumane. Are you kidding me? I got to whip him with a wire coat hanger. You know? Back in the day, when they had the cords on the iron that plugged in and would come out of the wall, my mama got to whip him with that cord. Yeah, flat, whatever was handy. Picture off the wall, it didn't matter. You know?
Spatula.
Flip-flops are safe, they don't get hard.
Wooden spoon. I can't tell the wooden spoon.
I can't over here giving you suggestions.
The whole thing with society, folks, is somewhere along the lines, people decided that it was easier to cope if they didn't take responsibility. And the very second they started pointing fingers, it opened the door for Satan. We no longer had control of our society once Satan took over. We're gradually, slowly trying to get back there, but it's like we're spinning our wheels right now because there's so many religions that aren't of the same mind, aren't of the same heart. You've even got that in the church, separation of mind and heart. Pastors who have mega churches and jet airplanes and fancy cars and Olympic-sized swimming pools heated indoors versus pastors that don't have anything, but are out there on the street saving souls, baptizing people in ditches. Separation of mind and heart. There is only supposed to be one religion, Christianity. The Bible is set up for Christianity. It's not set up for Presbyterianism, Lutheran, Catholic, whatever other denomination you want to come up with. It's set up to be followers of Christ. Once again, someone somewhere down the line said, "You know what? My life doesn't line up with that red letter verse. So this is what we're going to teach, and we're going to start this church." And now in 2019, there are so many different religions that the Bible is watered down for the majority of Americans. They don't know what to believe. They don't know who to listen to. We've got fairy tales, fables. And then they come to a cowboy church and hear sermons about unicorns. And they're like, it's a fairy tale, right?
Sorry, you lost me again.
You never heard the unicorn sermon? I'll bring the unicorn sermon back one day.
That was before my time.
It was a good sermon. It's in the Bible.
Basically, in the Bible, it talks about a unicorn. But when you start translating everything into the other languages, they're talking about the power of a rhinoceros. But it says unicorn in the Bible, so people go, oh, unicorns and rainbows and cotton candy. It's a fairy tale. No, that's not it at all. It's not it at all. You know, there's nothing fluffy about this. Okay, there's no cotton candy in here. If you get down and you do some healthy studies, you're going to realize exactly how far your mind is separated from your heart. You're going to find that when you go to the grocery store and you see something that was made by, I don't know, let's just say any communist country in the world, and you decide not to take it and go hunt for something that's made in America, and then when you get to the stuff that's made in America, you realize that it's full of hormones and